The distress beacon had been transmitting for 41 days. Commander Sarah Voss knew this because she had counted every single one of them. 41 rotations of the gas giant outside the viewport. 41 cycles of rationing the water reclamation output by another 3%. 41 mornings waking up in the dark, checking the beacon relay, and finding nothing but static on every frequency except the one they were broadcasting on. The Ardent Crossing had been a research vessel before the ambush. Now it was a tomb that hadn't decided to seal itself yet. Power reserves are at 11%, said Engineer Tolun Merak, not looking up from the console. His voice had gone flat somewhere around day 20. He didn't deliver bad news with urgency anymore. He delivered it the way a man reads a list. At current draw, we have 9 days before life support drops below sustainable threshold. Voss didn't respond immediately. She was looking at the third member of their surviving crew, xenobiologist, Dr. Ahincho, who sat cross-legged on the floor near the rear bulkhead, wrapped in 2 thermal sheets, reading the same pages of her field notes she had already read 100 times. Ahin had stopped speculating about rescue around day 15. Voss had quietly admired that. False hope, Ahin had said once, is just slow poison. 9 days, Voss finally repeated. Could stretch it to 11 if we shut down the secondary lab. Do it. Tolun moved to comply. The lights in the lab section flickered once, then died. The ship felt smaller immediately. Voss pulled up the star chart on the main display, a habit now, compulsive and irrational. She knew every route in and out of this sector. She knew the nearest inhabited system was 4 days at Standard Drive. She knew the nearest military outpost was 6. She knew that the Vithani raiders who had crippled them were almost certainly still patrolling the shipping corridor 2 light hours away, which meant that any vessel attempting to reach them risked exactly the kind of engagement that had put the Ardent Crossing on the bottom of this orbital drift in the first place. She knew all of this. She kept looking at the chart anyway. You should sleep, Ahin said from the floor, without looking up. I slept 4 hours. That was yesterday. Voss didn't argue. She sat down in the pilot's chair instead, which was close enough to sleeping that she told herself it counted. The alarm woke her at hour 3. Not the distress beacon cycling, not the power alert, the proximity sensor, the one they had set to catch Vithani approach vectors, the one that had screamed twice before and sent them scrambling to kill all non-essential power and play dead in the dark for 18 hours each time. Tolun was already at the console. His hands were moving fast, the flatness gone from his voice entirely. Single contact, coming in from the outer marker. A pause. It's not a Vithani signature. Voss was behind him in 4 steps. Whose is it? I don't. He stopped. His hands went still. He stared at the readout for a long moment, and then he said something she hadn't expected from him. He laughed. It was a short sound, almost involuntary, like something knocked loose from his chest. It's not one contact. Voss looked at the display. The outer marker showed a single lead vessel. Then, the system updated, pulling new data from the sensor net they'd scattered across the debris field for exactly this kind of detection. The single contact became 5, then 12. Then the display simply stopped trying to render individual signatures and produced a mass reading instead, because there were too many ships to count at this range, and they were moving in formation, and the formation was vast, and the transponder codes coming off the lead ship were unmistakable. Earth Fleet Command, Sector 7, Rapid Response. That's a carrier group, Tolun whispered. That's not a carrier group, Voss said. She had seen carrier groups. She had escorted carrier groups through this sector on survey runs. A carrier group was 10, maybe 14 ships, built around a central command vessel with fighter screens and support elements. What was filling her proximity display right now was not a carrier group. It was a war fleet. The lead vessel opened a channel 40 minutes later. The signal was strong enough to cut through the interference from the gas giant's magnetosphere without any filtering, which meant they were broadcasting on a military-grade tight beam that could punch through solid rock at this range. The voice on the other end was calm, professionally calm, the kind of calm that comes not from indifference, but from absolute certainty. Ardent Crossing. This is Admiral Junki Ri, aboard the ESN Unconquered. We have your position. We have your beacon. We have been in transit for 19 days at maximum sustainable drive. Please confirm crew status and advise on your power situation. We are 90 minutes from visual range. Voss keyed the transmitter. Her voice came out steadier than she felt. Admiral Ri, this is Commander Sarah Voss. 3 crew surviving out of 11. Power at 9% and dropping. We have Vethani raider activity in the corridor. Last confirmed contact 36 hours ago. 2 ships, armed for commerce interdiction. She paused. We weren't sure anyone was coming. A brief silence. Commander Voss, someone is always coming. 90 minutes. Keep your beacon active. They watched the fleet arrive through the forward viewport because none of them could do anything else. The Unconquered came first, an ESN command ship, nearly a kilometer of layered armor and weapons platforms, running lights precise and unhurried in the dark. Behind it came the attack cruisers in a staggered column, then the carrier wings with their fighter screens already deployed, in a sweep pattern that covered every Vethani approach corridor simultaneously. Destroyer screens on the flanks, support vessels tucked in the center, electronic warfare ships running silent on the outer edges, invisible except for the way they made every other signal in the sector go slightly, subtly quiet. It was not a rescue mission. It was a statement. The Vethani and Voss had no doubt they were seeing something that had no tactical response. You did not engage a fleet of this size over a single damaged research vessel. You did not attempt to finish what you had started. You turned your ships around and you recalculated every assumption you had made about which targets in this sector were safe to hit. Ahin had come to stand beside her at the viewport. She hadn't said anything in the 40 minutes since the channel opened. Now, she spoke quietly. 19 days at maximum drive, she said. From the nearest base, that's. She did the math in her head. They left within 48 hours of receiving our beacon. Yes, Voss said. We'd been transmitting for 41 days. I know. Ahin was quiet again. Then, they didn't send a courier ship. They didn't send a patrol frigate. They sent, she gestured at the viewport, at the impossible sweep of Earth's navy filling the dark outside. This. Yes, Voss said again. Tolun spoke from behind them, still at the console, voice fully back to itself, now dry and precise, and something else underneath that he probably thought he was hiding. The Unconquered is hailing us. Shuttle Bay is ready. They're asking for our docking approach preference. Voss let out a breath she thought she might have been holding for 41 days. She understood something in that moment. Watching Admiral Ri's fleet hold position around one broken ship the way a closed fist holds something worth protecting. Humanity had never built a military because it enjoyed war. It had built one because it understood something the Vethani had apparently not yet learned, that the cost of leaving your people behind was not measured in ships or fuel or transit time. It was measured in everything that came after, in every crew that would stop trusting the beacon, in every captain who would calculate the odds and decide that survival meant silence. Earth had done the math differently. 41 days, 11% power, 3 survivors, 1 damaged research vessel in a raider-controlled corridor, and they sent the fleet. Commander Sarah Voss keyed the transmitter one final time. Unconquered. This is Ardent Crossing. 3 aboard, ambulatory, ready for transfer. Pause. And Admiral, tell your crew they can stand down the combat spread. I think the Vethani already got the message. A beat of silence, then Admiral Ri's voice, and for just a moment the professional comm carried something warmer underneath it. Copy that, Commander. Welcome back.